All right. Hello, hello. I was trying to angle it to where you all could not see my messy desk. But every time I try to angle it, it keeps falling. So, yeah, sorry. Usually I'm better at angling it to where, here, you can't see it. You can't see my desk. But it is what it is. I'm a writer, and when you write, sometimes you kind of dive into your book if you get that everything's run basis. So I am so excited to have Terrence Ramsey on. I'll be bringing him on in just a moment. But you know what? First, I think we need to jam out a little bit. Am I right? Yes. Yes, if you're an overcomer, I want you to go ahead and hit overcomer. Not hit, type it out in the comments that you're an overcomer, because I love it. Like she says, the same man, the great I am, the one who overcame death is on the inside of you. And so, you know what? Like, glory to God. We're all overcomers in Christ Jesus, right? Awesome. Yes. So I also want to let you all know, I'm going to do our community announcements and then bring Terrence on with us. So during the video, if you share the video, because again, you never know who needs to see this, especially with a man courageous as Terrence coming on and going to share about something that he has gone through in his life. So here's the thing. If you share the video while it's live, I want you to come back and I want you to comment shared. I am going to then put everybody in a raffle and come back a little bit later. And what are you raffling off, Shannon? I love to give stuff away. So I am going to be having a writers group every Wednesday online. Normal cost is $27, but I'm going to pick one person from those that share tonight, and you got to come back and say shared. I am going to give a free class away. So if you are ready to write your book and you're ready to learn how to leverage that baby once it's done, that is going to be a class for you. Again, normally it's $27, but tonight I am going to go ahead and raffle one of those classes off. So if you can't make tomorrow's class, they are every Wednesday in the month of August. So not a problem. I am also going to be raffling off a copy of Fat Girl Chronicles. I am not who I perceive myself to be. And basically that book is made out of my own personal journal entries from when I was going through a 5-year period of time where I just kind of called myself Joe Beck. Many of you may or may not know my testimony, but it was in a 5-year period of time. I escaped domestic violence, fought cancer twice, was a single parent, and living in low-income housing, also shelters as well. So, so that was my Joe Beck period of time. So I am a firm believer that we are overcomers, and when we go through bad stuff, it's up to us to run back into the burning building and grab the other survivors. So I have currently written 9 books just kind of based on that 5-year period of time. And so Fat Girl Chronicles is one of those and I'll be giving away that tonight. So again, the only way I'm going to know that you shared it is you comment shared. All right, so real quick, some community announcements, and then we'll bring our special guest on. Unleash Your Voice Women's Coffee Night. Many may or may not know, but we are traveling in Pinellas County, so it will always be the last Saturday of every month. We'll try to get it as close to always being, this thing's getting my nerves, sorry. We'll try to get it as close to always being 5:30 to 8 o'clock, but you do need to probably join the Unleash Your Voice community group, ladies, if you want to know where we're going to be. This particular month, we are going to be in Olive Garden off of US 19 North. It's the one when you're getting close to like the Dunedin area. Of course, all the information will be in the comments. And so, what is Unleash Your Voice Coffee Night? I generally have one or two speakers, and we pick a topic and we talk about it. We do activities. It is good old fashioned girl time. And so this week or this month is going to be myself and Barbara King. She was the guest last week, and we are going to be sharing about disappointment, how to deal with disappointment, and how to heal from feeling like you are the disappointment. All right, thank you, Allison, for sharing. Woo! I'll make sure to write your name down. All right. So, and of course, like I was saying, the writers class is tomorrow, 7 to 8:30. And I'm telling you, breakthroughs are already happening. So if you are wanting to write a book, but you're really not knowing how to get started, that is going to be the class for you, because I'm going to take you not only through ways to help you get started, but ways to make that into a multiple streams of income book. Yeah. To me, that book is just a big old business card for me. I don't even focus on what the sales are. I'm always focusing on what I can do with it and how many opportunities I can create. So that's kind of my school of thought. Real quick, also, Nonprofit Mondays just started last night. So what is Nonprofit Monday? I am not going to chase down the big nonprofits. Those are not who I want to hear from. As I did the video earlier today, I am called to the overlooked. Thank you so much, Ron. I want the people that have created a nonprofit that maybe nobody knows about you. Well, I want to tell people about you. So I just need you to email me, embracinglife@shannonlturner.com, nonprofit. That's it. Don't message me because I'm inundated. Email me. But yeah, like I'm called to the overlooked. So if you have a nonprofit that nobody knows about, I want to help people know about you. And so yeah, there we go. Oh, September 20th is our Unleash Your Voice Women's Conference. We are expecting to sell out. I will get the sponsorship information sent out. If you want sponsorship information, then email me, embracinglife@shannonlturner.com. Sponsorship in the subject line, please. And of course, I don't guarantee the amount of seating that will sell, but I can tell you what our plan is. And our plan is to go gun-ho on this, because we believe that women need a girls' night out and to know they're not alone in a lot of the suffering. And so without further ado, I am going to bring Terrence on. Now, here is the wonderful thing is my goal with Unleash Your Voice, breaking the shame barrier, is many of us, man and woman too, have grown up in that whatever happens behind closed doors stays behind closed doors, and really nothing ever good happened behind said closed doors. And I want to break down the damn doors of secrets. So it could be something that happened in your childhood, something in your adulthood. But if anything that has kept you in shame and God has walked you through that, it is your responsibility now to tell your testimony so you can bring freedom to the others. So Terrence, I am ready for you. If you want to go ahead and request to come on live, and then I'll just going to have you take it away for like about 20 minutes and tell your story. So as soon as Terrence requests to come on live, he is going to just have the show. Okay, Terrence, are you there? Ah, there we go. Yes. God is teaching me patience through this. Okay, it says adding. Yes.
What's
Yes.
what's up, lady?
All right. Yay. Hello.
What's up?
So again, thank you for being the first male. Let me unplug my phone thing here. There we go. All right, cool. Thank you so much for being the first male to unleash your voice. And I just want to pray over you again, because what I want is the viewers that need to be on here to be on here, and for God to really speak to their heart, especially our men.
Right.
So I'm going to go ahead and just open us in prayer and then just release you for 20
Okay.
minutes. Lord God, we just thank you so much that you are amazing, you are glorious, you are wonderful. And Lord, speak through him mightily, Father God. I know he has a bondage breaking anointing. And Lord, we just thank you that he is unleashing his voice, he is sharing his story, because your word says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And we just love you. And Holy Spirit, have your will, have your way. You are welcomed in this place in Jesus' name.
Amen.
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 All right, Terrence, take it
All
away.
right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Terrence Ramses. I'm originally from Jersey. I've been in Florida since 2007, Caribbean background, business owner, and I'm also a full-time dad. Um, So I want to start off with my story, just a little bit about what I've been dealing with, breaking the shame barrier, coming forward, telling people my story, what I've faced in these last few months, and just a little bit about what I faced in my past. So back in 2011, some shame really started to hit me because I was in college at the time, and I had some fun, had a Four Loko night, and then everything happening from my son being conceived and being born. The biggest shame barrier from that is, coming from a background where I got stuck into like babysitting arrangements and my father not being there for me like consistently throughout my whole life. One of the things I told myself, I wasn't gonna have no children until I was married or whatever. So end up getting the wrong woman, pregnant or whatever. And, it's just been a roller coaster and spiral down since. I finished my college degree in business administration and I just been moving forward since. So 2013 speeded up. Um, she decides to move to Orlando, and that's when all hell had started breaking loose as far as me not seeing my son for like 6 or 7 months when she did that. And then I seen him on his second birthday. It was me and my older brother and some of my family out there in Orlando that I used to be close with. And what happened was we spent like an hour with him at Chuck E. Cheese. We took some pictures, we had some fun. And what happened was after that, I didn't see Tahir for about 3.5 years after that. And it was one of the main craziest things that I ever experienced. So I went to the court system and started filing custody for my son. The biggest problem with that was we just didn't know where she was located, and my family was going out there to see him at the time. And what was crazy about it, they knew where he was for like 2 years and never even told me where his location was. And me trying to, find him and trying to get him out of the situation that he was in. So it was one day back in 2015. I actually met up with her, um, and I seen him for like a couple of minutes, and then I left the scene where I took one picture with him, and then in between that, all the legal stuff was going on. I was in a relationship, and this is one of the girls that she couldn't chase away. One of my biggest shames during that problem was that me having a son, and sometimes women didn't want to date me because of that situation. I had to overcome that insecurity and just get through it. So I found somebody that was understanding towards my situation and helped me out through the situation. And because there was a lot of things that was going on at that time, um, and it was a real tough experience. Just trying to fight for custody. And the crazy thing about it was, Shannon, like a whole bunch of different judges changed. It went from this one judge, then he retired in the middle of it. Then another substitute judge was trying to tell me, we can't do anything about this, this support order that she went and filed support. And it was crazy because she never showed up to any of the court dates. She never came at all. Just never showed up. And the crazy thing about it is, it's like everything was going her way. It's just like one of those situations in the Bible to where let everything happen to Job. Everything you think went wrong in that court system went wrong. everything. I'm talking about I went from
Wow.
one judge that he was good, switched, then another judge who was good, switched. Then I got this lady. This lady in 2015, I'm like, oh man, this is not gonna go good. And it's crazy in the criminal justice system, unfortunately, like when it comes to like child custody and stuff, like not to sound crazy, but like when it comes to white women judges and black men trying to fight for their kids, that's not a really good combination. It was one of the worst combinations because when I
Mm.
went on the public records and saw that, I was like, this is about to be longer than I thought. So it was some things in the
Oh wow.
spiritual realm that I had to really fix with myself, and I had to work on my character too. And it was so funny, things had started coming together in 2016. But I just came off a cruise and taking care of all my business and stuff, and this was supposed to be the last court date, but it ended up not being the last court date because the lady, I had witnesses come in here, had my lawyer, had all of this. We just telling the story like, listen, we trying to go for full custody, and she told me no. The reason why, it's been so long, your child doesn't know you. He doesn't, we don't know how he's going to respond. We can't just remove him from the environment. The lady just kept on telling me to make phone calls, and we already been doing this. And I'm sitting there, it struck me because I'm like, how do you gonna tell me my son doesn't know who I am and I've been there? She's been purposely keeping me away. So a couple of months later, like in July, so this lady had hit me up on Facebook and asked me, am I tired father? So I was like, yes. And then we had like a 45-minute conversation from there, and it just went well because come to find out how the guy works, the lady that hit me up was my girlfriend's mom's friend at that time, and she was living in Georgia. So she told me she filled in a lot of missing blanks that was going on because she went um, from Orlando to Daytona to Georgia. She was in Illinois. She was in Detroit. She was in Sacramento. She went to Sacramento. Yeah, she went to
Wow.
Sacramento, filed child support over there. I was like, this is out of control. So long story short, like at the end of the year, the last court date we went, she got on. She was like, we told her like we've been calling her. I sent her the text. I was showing all that documentation in court. So what was crazy about it was, um, 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 she called her. The judge decided to call her. So she called her. You're wrong. She got on the phone like, this is Miss such and such, this judge thing. We here with Mr. Ramsey. Did you know it was a court date? And she started just like mouthing off at the judge, and it's like, no, no, you know about this court. It's been years, and you just purposely doing this. And he showed you the documents. I got the text message right here in court. Then she started going on talking about how abusive I was and talking about, oh, I wasn't doing this, I wasn't doing that, I was trying to let him see it. And I got a black book full of stuff showing that I was taking care of my.
Wow.
I'm gonna show it to you. See this? This is my whole custody packet.
Oh
Big as this thing is. All of that. That's
wow.
my custody book. So it was crazy, and she was like, you know what, Miss, his mom's name, mom. So she was like, nah, so what we gonna do, since you don't want to cooperate, so we're gonna issue up a pickup order for Miss Ramsey, pick up his son. We taking away your rights. And she started just still flipping out, and we just had to find her from there. So one day I was in Orlando doing Uber, and I called her and see where she was at. I picked him up from there. I called the sheriff at the time just in case she tried to do something crazy. I picked him up, and I just had him full time since. Fast forward till now, a situation that I've been dealing with. This was more details to that, but I wanted to just tell the shame barrier with that, as far as just felt like I was
Mhm.
disappointing people, and I felt like the world had ended, and I just persevered through it. I got through college, and I relocated to Tampa in 2017, and I've been taking care of my son since. And just to let people know, it's no shame in going to court and fighting for your kids if you have the mental capacity to keep going forward through it. Men do it in their kids if they stay in there long enough. Um, so what I've been dealing with recently, um, it started back in April of this year. I was currently living in Brandon, Florida, and I had an apartment over there. And it's just been a struggle since I've been out here because I've been trying to take care of my son, change his behavior, work with him in school, putting him in school, being in his life, and being taking care of things in the community, being there for people. And it's just been a rough journey. Like income has kind of been fluctuating, me trying to build a business at the same time, and it's just been a lot going on. So there was a fast a couple of months ago with one of my aunties and my mentor, and we just went on this fast, and we just started having fun with this fast. We started writing in our journals, and I was a little bit behind on some bills, and I ain't had my taxes was jammed up. It was hard for me to find a stable gig because the times that I needed to pick up my son, I didn't have nobody to pick him up consistently. I didn't have consistent babysitting arrangements, and it was just tough during that situation. So it was one day, it was like day 8 of that fast. It's just like seemed like all hell started breaking loose. So I go outside one day.
Mm.
I made a payment on my car that previous night. The next morning, my car was gone. Car got repoed. Yeah, my car was
Mm.
repoed. So I'm like, all right, I ain't got no way in getting my son to school. So I'm like, all right, I got him up, got him ready. Thank God that I had some great relationships in the community. I had some, great relationships with just people a part of my business or whatever. So one of the little girls in my community, she's one of the models. Her mom she picked him up faithfully for like a week until I got my car, and she took me to get my car back when I got my car back.
Wow.
So what happened was, I just kind of got I fundraised the money up just to get myself out of that situation, and I just was just diligent during that fast. It's just like when you're fasting, it just seemed like when you're trying to get closer to the creator, everything just started going. I said, man, this is crazy because I'm like,
Hmm.
this is my first time ever fasting because I never understood. I see all these people going on fast. I'm like, I'm not fast because I don't know what that does and know what it means. So I said, let me go ahead and get in this fast. I mean, we was having fun. I got me some reestablished my life insurance. I took care of some other business, and during that, I had people just to just help me out. Part of my community that I've built, and I learned a lot of different skill sets in that time frame, and built a lot of different solid relationships with people that was in that group, and how we connected and helping each other now. And it was just some lessons that I learned about just bills, and not even necessarily managing your money, but just showing people that showing me that God was showing me that how much people love and care and respect me and as a person, and they love what I'm doing and can appreciate that in the community, and everything that you were about. So a couple of weeks later, I had to break my lease, and it was one of the most difficult decisions I had to make because um, I just didn't have the money to pay the rent. I was like God was covering me through those couple of months. I didn't even have money for the rent, and I was just hoping that this tax return came through. My taxes still did not come through, and what was crazy about it was I was like, I felt crazy. I felt like hurt, felt like less than a man because I couldn't provide for my son. I couldn't keep a roof over my head because, the man in the house is supposed to carry all the weight for his kids, his grandkids, handle all the bills, buy all the groceries. So for the most part, I was maintaining that. I just hit a real bad rough patch. So me and Tahir was homeless for a couple of weeks, and me and Tahir was sleeping in a car. And long story short, yeah, we was sleeping outside in the car. So long story long story
Wow.
short, there was my old apartment complex. I had a couple friends that stayed over there. They don't stay over there no more. I had one friend I crashed for a couple of days, but it was like a schedule conflict. So there was a lady that they used to watch my son, like the building over like a year ago when I used to go to work and stuff. So what happened was there was some vacant units over there because it was re-renovating because all the people had moved away because the rent just keeps juggernauting out here in the Bay Area. And we was just basically staying in like a vacant apartment for like a week. Fast forward to the Memorial Day weekend. So after that, that was the last week of school. So this was about like 2.5 months ago. I had that Tuesday, was like a couple days, like I said, a couple days before school. So that Tuesday, I had picked my son up from karate, and we went to the library for like about an hour, and then I said, okay, let's go. Library closed at 9. I went to Publix and got him a sub, like a 6-inch sub, and then we went back to the apartment. So what happened was I told my son at the time, I told him that just I'll be right back. Storage unit, like right across the street. Say lock the door. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna get some stuff out of storage because it's late. I'm already that kind of discombobulated, and I'm trying to figure out what's our next move. Where we gonna stay? And the crazy thing about it was, I've been like throughout the day, I did used to do Uber and stuff, and just trying to figure out some things, trying to look at some resources to try to help me out. So, the system is so biased to where they don't help out like men and children. It's like a foreign language to them. It's like, yo, we can't help you. Circumstances, usually I figure it out, and that's like the people that was closest to me and I knew my situation, I was sending them the emails and the screenshots. I'm like, this is what they've been telling me. So like, what do I do next? It's like a lot of people didn't have solutions to the problem. And so what happened that night was I go into the storage, gone for about 20 minutes, come back to the apartment, I banged on the door, my son was asleep. So I was like, all right, cool. I ain't too mad at him. He been up since like 7 o'clock, because kids, they get up like they've got full-time jobs and they don't get out till like 7 o'clock in the evening. So I'm like, okay, I ain't too frustrated with him. So I was on the phone with one of my models till like 12 o'clock. So it was casual. It was outside the apartment. I ain't tripping. So I went to the car, got my stuff. There was another apartment downstairs, so I went down there just to relax for a little bit. It's like 12 o'clock. I went wash up, chill. I just was relaxing. I ain't really sleep real good because the situation that was at hand. And so long story short, one of my suppliers had hit me up around 3 o'clock in the morning, and that's when I put my phone on vibrate. Like an hour, like 2 hours later, I just took a quick nap. I seen like a whole bunch of missed calls on my phone. So I'm like, what's all these missed calls? So I'm like, okay. So I called back. I'm like, yeah, may I help you? Who is this? Like, he was like, this is the Hillsborough Sheriff's Department. I'm like, okay. Now how can I help you? Huh. I was like, how can I help you? He was like, this is Terrence, right? Like, it's Terrence. He was like, yo, we got your son. I'm like, okay. So I got my stuff. Yeah, I got my stuff. I went to the sheriff's department, see what's going on. I seen Tahir in the window, playing with one of the other guards. It was a black deputy. So the two deputies we went in the back. They interviewed me and asked me what was going on. At first, I gave them like a crazy story because I didn't really want them knowing what was going on with my business or whatever. And then I finally told them like what happened and what was going on. So, make a long story short, that one of the deputy that was interviewing me, he didn't believe me, so I had got arrested for 2 days. So I went to jail for 2 days. So based off of the story, because I guess my son had told him some stuff that was going on. I don't know what exactly he said. He didn't tell me. The deputy didn't tell me why he was arresting me. He just arrested me. He felt like I wasn't being responsible instead of just looking at the situation for what it was. So the deputy, I've never seen the deputy again. So there was another deputy who was in there just talking to me, telling me what was going on because he understood what was going on and he was trying to help me out. So he gave me my phone back. He told me to call somebody on the phone so somebody can pick up your car so they don't tow your car. So I'm like, okay, no problem. So I called one of my mentors. He came and picked my car up, and I sat in jail for 2 days. I was supposed to get out sooner than that, but one of the person I was on the phone with, she couldn't get me out because she lived in another county, so you had to pay the whole bond. And, this is the first time for me, so I don't know what's going on. So when I was sitting in, I'm like, how I end up from just doing okay and then to homeless, now I'm in jail. I was like, I'm trying to figure out what am I missing something? What is going on? So I made some phone calls. We was laughing about it then because I'm like, I called my brother. He's like, Terrence, who? I'm like, bro, this is your little bro. He's like, nah, what happened? I was like, bro, I can't even tell you on the phone, bro. Like, I just need you to could dial these numbers and just figure out how to get me out. So I got out of there like Friday evening, and I just did some like it was crazy. I didn't eat in there for 2 days. I didn't shower. I like it was crazy because I tried to take some of the food. The food was just terrible, and the mentality and the people in there was just crazy. These people in here that actually was doing crazy crimes and stuff like that. So got out and just figured everything out. Now long story short, I had a talk with my mentor and my auntie. They sat me down and they was just telling me, how they felt about the situation. They had compassion too, but they was just trying to like, yo, you gotta get it together, take care of your business. But they understood I wasn't getting the help that I was, and I was telling them I needed help. So I was just in a situation where like my son is like now he's in foster care right now. I haven't told that many people like that. Like, so I'm telling you now. So my son is currently in foster care because people have been asking me throughout the summer, like, "Yo, where's your son? Where's T?" Especially my
Oh,
church family, and it was like the first Sunday that he was missing. They already automatically was asking me, but previous to that, I had a babysitting arrangement. I said, I'm just taking some time out. I need a break, is they know I take care of him full time or whatever. So when I was in court or in jail, so they was telling what happened and the visitation and all of that. They was asking me how did I get full custody. I said I took my son mom to court and won over that. She lost her rights doing stupid stuff, and then what happened was the lady was like, she was a nice judge though. She was like, just release all the resources. So I'm like, I'm in jail. I'm sitting there, release the reese. So you had this stuff already, but y'all was just not telling me. You just we ain't helping you. Now when I go to jail, you try and help me. You set me back even further than what I'm already in a situation already. You set me 2 steps back already. So long
wow.
story short, God is good too throughout this whole situation. So when I went to the agency that was helping me, so I went in there with this book. I said, man, we can go up in here. I don't know what they gonna say. I didn't know if I had an answer. I'm like, look, I went in there like they was about to throw the book at me. I don't know what they was gonna do. So I walked in, a whole bunch of different ladies, it was men and women, and I was like, okay, the vibe in here look kind of friendly. So they was nice, they was polite, and three of them knew my auntie. They knew her, and it was like they was just looking at. I said, this is what we're gonna do for you. Here's the case plan, and it was just going. Here's my case manager. It was a nice lady, nice Caribbean lady. My background's Caribbean. It's a nice Jamaican lady. She was helping me out, and then her supervisor, and then all the people around the table. So I gave them this book, and they started going through it. They were like, oh. They was like, oh, how long? So let me ask you, Mr. Sam, what kind of mother was to your son? I'm like, somebody I shouldn't have been with. It was just she just hasn't been in his life. I just been taking care of him for the last almost 3 years, and it was like we don't have to establish paternity. And it was like, oh, you just been through all this, and you got all. It's like you still got your rights and everything, but it's just like they was looking at him like one of the girls that was my age. She was just staring at me. She was just smiling. She's like, see if your auntie can, take him, because they were just gonna call and see if she can, he stay there for the time being, so I can just get, everything back reestablished. And they was just looking through that. They was like, man, we gotta help this man. This When I walked in and they saw this custody fight and they seen the details of what happened, it's like, this man should not be in here. They like, Mr. Ramsey, I'm sorry you were going through this. They were like, we gonna get you this as fast as possible. Start working on this plan. They was just like, this man ain't got no business in here. Like this man, they come. They was just in disbelief. Nobody believed. When I told people this story to this day, they still don't even believe it. So yeah, so they just didn't
Wow.
believe me. So I'm just everything just been on an accelerated path, and I told God like, hey, I don't know what else to do. I was doing some things in my own strength, and it was just tough. And I was just like, listen, I was just about to walk away from my brand, my clothing brand. I was just about to say, listen, leave my son wherever he is. I can't do this no more. This is too much
Mm.
pressure because I've been like begging and pleading. Then it's like every seed that I've been putting is now starting to catch up with me. Like everything that I've been doing from like my childhood to now, it's starting to kick in. Like my tax return got released, resources with the situation got released. Now I'm gonna get like a house in. Now I just got to finish up this parenting class and this thing at the behavior center. I mean, it's a light case plan, and the court dates have been great, and just on an accelerated path and just changing my situation. It was crazy. It was an attorney that I went and seen about the situation, and she was like real insensitive. And if she was somebody that looks like me, to where yo, I'm telling you what's going on. You are, how can I fight it as an attorney? You don't ask me how to fight it. We sit in the office for like an hour and a half talking about this situation, and we're not even getting nowhere. He's telling me, this is an easy case to try, and I'm pretty transparent. They give you housing. I'm like, I got this charge on my record. I need to get this dropped because my Uber account got locked, my Lyft account got locked. It's gonna be hard for me to apply
Oh.
for different things because I got this charge on my. She's like, well, she read the definition, but long story short, I ended up not hiring. She's not trying to take my money, but I just looked at certain things and her mannerisms. Seemed like you wasn't really trying to be. You was looking down upon me instead of being shown compassion as a dad. And I met her through a business tour or whatever, and I was like, that's crazy. I'm like, I don't understand when people look down upon other people's situations and they look at somebody just because they homeless. That don't necessarily mean I don't have money. I just had a situation that occurred, and I sit there in my mind like nobody sits that high, but God. That somebody can look down upon you. Only God sits that high. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It was crazy, and then a couple of weeks
Yeah.
later, court dates was just going smooth. And the last week I had a couple of court dates, and at the end of the thing, I got me another attorney for the criminal side and then juvenile side. Basically, did my lawyer on the juvenile side. He was like, "This is crazy." It's like your situation is unusual. It's like what they supposed to do is like the deputies and the CPIs, they supposed to remove your kids at the very last resort, and the sheriffs, they supposed to do that the very last for. That's the first thing they did. They didn't even take nothing into consideration, like your situation. And then what was funny about the situation was that when we went to court the second time, like God moved some people around on that side of the round table. Besides my case manager was a different state attorney and was a different sheriff. There was a lady, so they was like, he started asking me questions about my son, how old is he, and he asked me some things about what was going on in my situation. He was like, you gotten pretty far in this case plan, like you almost completed. So the last thing that you have to do is just gotta finish up your parenting class, and parenting class ends in a couple of weeks. And he's like, man, we just gotta get you in your situation because we gotta get you reunited, and then we're gonna get you your housing situation because we can tell you just had a situation. Like they've seen it with compassion, like they understand that I was really in a tough situation where I just needed some help and nobody wanted to help me. And my case manager was vouching like that's a good dude. Her and my son got a relationship and stuff like that. It's like my son got relationship. He just like me. He got relationships, but his relationships are more tighter in the community with the women and stuff. So it was just so funny just happening. The biggest shame about telling the situation was just sitting down, just telling people how it happened. So I just faced the situation. I told my bishop, told the first lady. I just sat down and I told him because he was a full time dad, and I sat there and told him what happened. He was like, "Wow, am I telling people what I?" He was like, "Wow, I'm my bad, man. What can we do to get you in the change the situation?" Because it was a couple of weeks when I got out of jail. I went to Daytona for a couple of days. I was like, because that's where I was going to school. I had my uncle over here. He said, "Man, you staying here." I did nothing for like 5 days. I just relaxed, caught up with a couple of people that were still in Daytona. Relaxed. I did a little bit of shopping. I got my car fixed. My brakes got fixed because my brakes was bad too. It's like God just started helping me out with everything that was going on, and
Mm.
it just took something bad to happen for a lot of this good stuff that's going on now, and I had to get a connect, you know, from my uncle out here. Now he's a good friend of mine, and he was like, "Man, where was you sleeping at?" I said, honestly, I was just sleeping in my car after I got out of jail. I was sleeping in my car. I had no place. I was like parking in like the back of like hotels and just cracking my window and just sleeping for right now. Now I usually like I got a gym membership that Crunch, and that's why I would like take my showers, work out, and take my showers and stuff, and doing it like that. And ever since, and I told one of my friends that what was going on like a month ago. So I've been staying with her for a little while till everything gets situated and things of that nature. So everything is just up on the up and up when it comes to my court situation, and the judges, they've been good too. And he's like, I could tell that you trying to get your situation in order. And she was asking me about my legal representation, and we eliminated a trial, a pre-trial, and because I was like, man, I'm almost done with this case plan. I'm just trying to get little man out of the situation that he got. So basically, what T just woke up just looking for me, and he knocked on a couple of doors, and they was just trying to look for me, and my car was on the premises when everything was happening, and it was just crazy. It's something that just overcome. And when I talked to the new lawyer, when it comes to the criminal side, we was in there for about 25 minutes. 25 minutes. She dissected the situation
Wow.
more, and she was like, well, let me ask you a question. Well, if we pull up your phone records, like as far as your location was, show where you was at. Like, yeah. So when I left our office, I looked up on the map. It shows right where I was. So they're gonna pull it from the AT&T side, and the case is gonna be even stronger because the dude, it's like a 27-page report about what the situation happened. So the deputy made a lot of mistakes in the see the devil try to get you. See, but he ain't think everything through. So he made a lot of mistakes when my Miranda rights wasn't read to me a few times. He twisted the story for order
Ooh.
for it to make it look like I was incriminating. Like he make it seem like I was a criminal. Like I just left and abandoned my son. And Lord, like you ain't just vanishing in thin air. You was there the whole time. And it's in the report, but there was no drugs found on me. There was no alcohol. I passed a drug test, and he just made it seem like he just did this. So what happens is he said we're gonna interview the deputies that did that, and we're gonna get this case dropped for you because that's just crazy. And she showed me a scorecard. So the scorecard is like all the offenses, like the offense, like a scale. So from 0 to 25 is like you ain't going to jail. So for over anything over 25 to like 43 is a possibility, and then you got 44 to 69, you definitely going, like you definitely going. Like so she scored me at a he scored me at a 36. I said a 36. Like 36 is like high. That's only a couple more points until like you definitely going. Yeah, like I'm like, how did score so high? So she read me the report, and I got a copy of all the records and everything. So and she's like, there's nothing on my background. It's clean. I have no priors. I have nothing on my juvenile. So this man is trying to incriminate me to where it was like racial bias in there. Then it was also trying to make it seem like I had drug possession, I had a gun on me, or or I was trying to sell drugs, or I was like a violent crime, like I was stealing or money laundering, because that's along those lines for your score to be that high. And that was not even the situation. Yeah, that's not even the
Wow.
situation. Like this man is trying to incriminate me. So now it's the judge. I listened to it during arraignment, and that's when I got everything taken care of. She was like, and she sounded real fair. She was just one of them fair judges. I'm like, if they decided, to try to, not drop the charge, we just gonna go to trial with all the documents and evidence and support and my custody and the case plan that I'm on and all of that stuff. Is just like the state try to make me an offer to where it's a pre-trial intervention to where you're we're gonna give you like 18 months probation. I'm like, that's not along the lines of somebody that was in a homeless situation. I'm like, no, we're not going that route because number one, I didn't commit any crime. Number two, wasn't selling no drugs. I had no guns. I didn't hit you, the officer. I didn't incriminate anybody. I didn't put anybody in any type of danger or anything. You just put me in a category to where I was like I was stealing or I was a thief or I had a prior record to that. And it was none of the case. That was not even the case. You just put me in a situation to where like, okay, I'm gonna put him out. He's just another black man that's just was just not responsible, or he just did committed some type of crime. No, that wasn't even the case. I just had a circumstance what led to that, the situation that happened with my son. They just didn't take it for face value, but the people, the people on the other side of it, they took it for face value. Like if it was that bad, they wouldn't even be trying to, get me back with my son or whatever. It was like if it was really that serious, I could see my car was missing. I ain't returning a phone call till like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That okay. I returned my phone call as soon as I received the phone calls. I returned your phone call. So it was just a crazy situation. The biggest shame about that part of my story was just sitting down telling people and not being able to know how people were going to respond. Were they going to change their perception of me? Were they gonna look down upon me? Were they gonna just stop talking to me? I don't know. But it came to a point where it was like, nah, it was the complete opposite. They was like, T, I got you. Don't worry about it. Anything you need, I got you. It was the same thing when I was like walking around with my son now when I was single. When I was single, and I'm still single now, but I was walking around with my son and I was kind of like, well, dang, will women date me with me having my son? Believe it or not, it's the opposite. They were like, okay, he's somebody who take care of his responsibilities. He fought that long and
Hmm.
get his child back. So definitely, yeah, he somebody that I would really consider, and they be just liking my son too. So there was just like the shame barriers that I would just share with everybody that men do when they're children. Um, any great dream that you have will be tested, and if you don't feel like you about to walk away from it, it hasn't really been tested from the heavens because everything just gonna be thrown at you. Because I'm so close to where I'm supposed to be, everything just was just thrown at me. So it's just been a little bit difficult situation, and I just been taking one day at a time. I haven't been I haven't been stressed about it. I don't even think about it. I just been spending time just getting my mind right, just getting the word, just focusing on the goals that I need to get unlocked, and just focusing on doors being unlocked daily. And then I just been, just still out here serving the community, supporting people any way I can, and hurting and just being there for people when I'm hurt. You know what I'm saying? Just supporting people, like showing up.
Hmm.
Like if I say I'm gonna show up to your event, I'm gonna come just like I wanted to come out there and support you. And it was just funny. We just had a good time that day. I was like, you know what? Let's go. Yes, we did. I
Yes.
said, let's go out here and just support people. And I'm just like there for people in their time of need. And I understand, I put all my problems to the side, and because that stuff will drive you crazy and make you start like drinking on a daily basis. And what I would say to the world is you can't never judge somebody who drinks every day or somebody who just succumb to drugs, because it's just so many things going on in society today that puts people in those situations, because that stuff, the criminal justice system And the system trying to fight your kids needs to be unrooted. It needs to be rewritten. They need youth in there. They need a whole bunch of different changes because that stuff will drive you crazy. These people will drive you crazy, like to the point where you just it'll make you insane because they stuff they be just doing just don't make sense. As I say, where they be doing this at? Where they do that at? They just doing crazy stuff. I'm like, man, this is not for me. So I'm like, man, one of the things that I plan on doing once I get enough money and so well it's a sport, but mainly once I get enough money, I want to start some organizations to where we help out, single dads and also we help single moms too, but help full families out because the system don't like helping single dads and they don't help like helping full families. Because I seen it was one day in June, I was walking downtown. I was just been a humbling experience because I was walking downtown by the art museum. I saw a whole family sleeping outside on cardboard with a boombox. A husband, wife, two daughters, black family.
Oh,
I was like, I didn't even say nothing. I was like, this is not happening right. I'm not seeing this. I'm like, I'm seeing this. This is really real. Like, it's real out here. So I'm
wow.
like, wow, like everybody going through some hard times, and it's just like people will be having resources and they don't want to help people out. And one thing, before I close out, is when I was in my parenting class, and the parenting class hasn't been more of an open dialogue for other dads that are going through, crazy situations too. And a couple of weeks ago, one of the dads was like, the crazy thing about these housing vouchers, they was really withholding the housing vouchers from people who in need. They say, nah, we ain't got no housing vouchers. What housing vouchers? Like on Friday. Like for real. Like they were like, what housing vouchers? And the people had gotten trouble because at the end of the fiscal year, so what happens is when you're in business, your fiscal year is like you analyze your operating income, your net income, your income statement, your balance sheet. They were like, why is all this money left over? So y'all not using the money. So come to find out, they just people behind the computers, the devil. Nah, we ain't giving them house. It's 30 million in the account. We ain't got no money. So you just gonna let
What?
yeah, so you just gonna let these people suffer. They just nah, they homeless trying to these people really need help and they just no, we ain't giving them no house and vouchers because they mad because they gotta pay rent and these people that don't have to pay rent. It's crazy. And like if it's so many
Mm,
stipulations behind it, like they'll remove the dude in there if they trying to get section 8 too sometimes and in order for them to get some help. I'm like, where they do that at? Yeah, that junk ain't that junk don't even make sense.
wow.
So that's why you see a lot of people that don't be getting Section 8. That's what it was, or that's what it is now because somebody in the background is just bitter and they don't want to they don't want to give you the housing voucher. They just let you figure it out. Nah, you ain't getting no housing voucher. You just gonna suffer. We ain't got none. They got it. They can just release it just like that. Yeah, so then the lady that came and dropped my son off to me at church, she just put me on game. He's like, don't let this agency fool you. They got food assistance, they got housing, they gonna help you with your utilities, they got gas cards, they got stuff that you wouldn't think, but you gotta know to ask for it, but they're not gonna tell you that. Which is crazy. I'm like, people really out here in situations and they don't want to tell people that. I'm like, wow. So now I experienced that. I'm able to tell people this. I mean, at this point in my life, I'm not really ashamed about it because it's a part of my story. It's a part of, the brand story too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a part of, just changing lives. And, I know my clothing brand is just a start of it, but just doing some things in the community to help stop poverty, stop families from being homeless, because I know what it was like being up in Jersey, being homeless. That junk is not fun. It's not funny. It's not judgmental. Like homelessness is not. People look down upon homeless people. Like it's not cool. So I'm like, yeah, I got something. A part of my journey is to try to change some things with the legal system, the system with dads and just families and getting stuff getting stuff just taken care of, man. It's just crazy not having my son at this time, but it's something that I just needed to experience. I needed a break. I ain't gonna lie, I did need a break, and I just needed to, to regroup and get some stuff and get the foundation on me started to where this will never happen again. To where I appreciate some things a little bit more, and they also make me and my son's relationship, closer, and it's just a learning experience as far as just everything. It's everything. Just telling a story, and now I'm just humble about it, and just looking at my word and just working on my business, and just knowing what I have to do just to be a better dad. I'm not mean amazing dad, but just even being even a better dad. And now people know what's been going on, and it's just like it is what it is, and I feel excited and compelled to be on this live telling people about it. I mean, there's no shame.
Yeah, like
Go ahead.
I took some
Mhm.
notes. I took some notes. So yeah, like stay on with me because let me tell you, like you hit on so many things that we've all experienced, but when it's happening to you, you feel like you're the only one.
I was
So
alone.
like you hit on finances, especially being the man and struggling with the finances, homelessness, core issues, disappointment, being arrested, being a single parent, having a child end up in foster care, and fear of judgment. So, like, those were the things that really stood out to me. And what I want all of our viewers to know is Terrence is courageous enough to tell his story, so you know that you're not the only one that's ever experienced that. So, Terrence, let me ask you, if somebody wants to talk to you further, what is an email address they can
Yes,
use?
they can reach me at ripebrandclothing@gmail.com. So it's RIPEBRAND clothing@gmail.com.
Perfect. Thank you. And again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I mean, I'm blown away. And right there, when you were talking about the microwave's gonna go off, sorry,
Now you
teenagers.
good.
um, right
People been walking in our background too. Don't
right
worry
there
about it.
when you were talking about yeah, when you were talking about the some of the nonprofits and the government agencies being broken, like that is the reason why I'm doing nonprofit Mondays. I don't want, like everybody is suggesting I follow up with the big nonprofits. I don't want them on the show. I want the ones that nobody knows about, because what happens when the big ones fail you? There has to be more that are out there that somebody has started from their kitchen table or something, and they're impacting the community, but they don't have the budget that everybody else has to do the advertising. So, and that is leaving people not even knowing they exist, and that is leaving people suffering when they don't have to. So like that right there. So again, like, and Terrence, you're great with helping me get the word out on stuff. That's who I want on Nonprofit Monday, is the ones that people don't know about. Because what do you do? Yeah, there it goes. Um, what do you do when Christian? Sorry. Hurry, son. Okay. Oh, so it is like, what do you do when the big ones that everybody tells you to go to say, "Oh, we don't have any beds," or "We don't have any money," but yet you may have Sally Sue or Tom sitting at the table that has started a nonprofit, and they may have some funding available, but nobody knows about them. So like that's like that is a fire in my bones. And so, again, y'all, don't suggest that I follow up with the big ones. If you know of the other ones that are doing something to impact the community, but nobody knows about them, just pass my email address on to them, because I want to tell people about what they're doing. And again, can you say your email
Yes,
address?
it's right, RIPE, brand clothing at gmail.com.
Awesome, awesome. And just to recap, so for those listeners that tuned in during the program, at the beginning of the program, like I am just so amazed that God, has blessed me with the opportunity to have the men begin to unleash their voice as well. And so I want to jump behind Terrence. So what I'm asking you to do is share our video, but do it before we close in like the next 5 minutes. Share our video. And if you do, come back and say shared. And I'm asking you to do that because you don't know who on your timeline needs his story. That's like, so what I'm going to do is when you come back and you say shared, I'm going to go ahead and enter you into a raffle. I have Wednesday night writing classes that are $27, and it helps the writer finally begin to understand how to write their story, how to leverage their book. I'm going to also, that's going to be one prize that you can win is a free class. The second one is I'm going to not raffle off one book, but two. So that's three raffles because I'm asking you jump behind this courageous man of God and share his story because you don't know what other man on your timeline needs to know everything he just said. It is time, like we've got so many resources for the women to share and the women to get support and the woman this and the woman that. And as a woman, I'm very thankful. But who's jumping behind the men? Who's helping them, when they are facing homelessness, financial issues, court appearances, disappointment, arrest, being a single parent, having a child end up in foster care, and fear of judgment. Who's jumping behind the men? Somebody needs to jump behind the men and say, we got you.
Yeah,
So thank you so, so much. And also, again, if you can just stay on with me for just a minute, because I know we're getting a lot of new
no
viewers.
problem.
So if you share the video, come back and put shared, and you'll be entered in for a raffle. And then community announcements, real quick, is writing class is tomorrow and actually every Wednesday in the month of August. 7 to 8:30, you go to Eventbrite to purchase your ticket. Women's Conference Unleash Your Voice is September 20th. Again, it's on Eventbrite. ShannonTurner.com event or ShannonTurnerEventbrite.com, something like that. Look on my wall. Nonprofit Monday, like Terrence's story just fired me up all the more. So if you run a nonprofit or you know somebody, end up having them send me an email because I want to give them the possibility of coming on Nonprofit Monday Facebook Live. And so that's embracing life at shannonlturner.com. In the subject line, put Nonprofit Monday. And yeah, and ladies, Unleash Your Voice Coffee Night. That is August 31st at Olive Garden off of US 19 North near Dunedin. So yes, that was a mouthful. Are you
I'm
raising
raising
your
my hand
hand?
this time. I got two things I want to say in closing. Yeah, one
Yes.
thing I say, when I was living in the shelter, I was in there for 2 weeks. That experience was crazy. Some of them people was doing like crazy stuff in there. It's like those places not even designed for children. I'm like, that was one of the craziest experiences. I was in there for about 2 weeks, just trying to figure some things out, and I figured some things out. And I want to leave you with a story from the Bible, back from what I learned in 2013. It was about
Uh-oh. Okay, there we go.
what's the name? I forgot his name, but he was a child that was born out of wedlock. So from I think it was from Hagar, and what happened was, he was one of those childs that was just not supposed to be successful. One of the kids was out. Him and his brother was like like beefing in the nations, but at the same time, God still blessed him because he was, out of wedlock. And I looked at my situation like that, and it was like he still was like a wealthy person. He still persevered through all the obstacles, and those are the people, the lineages of the people from Dubai. Come to find out, I forgot his name, but it's in my notebook. But that story stuck out to me the most because it's like whether something is done like outside of wedlock, God still can bless it. God still can move it forward. And I looked at my situation, my destiny still wasn't like really altered, but it was just delayed up a little bit. You still gonna get the blessings that God promised you, and it was kind of discouraging when I was in that situation at first, but it encouraged me because it was a story that you and your children can still be blessed. Once you get back on the straight and narrow path, and you can still move forward from that, and just it's a positive image as far as being a full-time dad. It's been a blessing, and especially the ladies in the community, him and my first lady, they got their relationship. It's actually pretty funny how my son has a lot of relationships with different people, and it's just a better be a better man, and just be a better man to just people in the community, and just I just love to just tell my story now because it's just been, when I tell it, it seems like people have been waiting to hear that. It's like other dads been waiting to hear how to go after their kids. What's the blueprint? I went through hell getting my son back, but I have the blueprints and I know how to get through the system like quicker. So they probably get them what took me 3.5 years. They probably take them a year and a half.
Wow. Well, again, thank you so very much for joining us. And like, yes, yes, you are like you are the trailblazer. You just broke the mold. So, the waiting list for appearing on the show for men and women, the waiting list is open for September and October. So if you are interested in sharing your story of overcoming shame in any particular area, I need you to email me at embracing life at shannonlturner.com. Subject: breaking the shame barrier. Send me the story you would like to talk about. Now, understand your audience is a Christian audience. So there's like no political discussion, and we don't promote businesses. And this is one human to another. I'm such a fanatic about coffee and conversation. So that's, you just have to get in the mind frame. Uh, what Terrence and I are doing, we're just talking and we're letting everyone know like you're not alone. And so, yeah, thank you so very much. And you have a wonderful night. And we are praying blessings on you. And that, like the Bible says, mercy and grace will like chase you. That's what I'm praying.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you having.
I totally paraphrase that scripture, but that's what I'm doing. Praying mercy and grace chase you down and
That's all right. We
overtake you.
messing up with the stories, but you know what we talk about. But they know what we talk about. But yeah, I appreciate you having
Yes.
me on. It was an honor for you to
Yeah, thank
invite me
you.
on and just share my testimony. Excited for everything that's about to happen,
Yeah.
and just being able to to break the barriers. I always like to be the first to do something, like the first to test something out, and hopefully this will touch a few different people. Hopefully this will change somebody's life. Hopefully this is a word that somebody's been looking for, and an outlet for them to see that there is hope even in a hopeless situation, for them to just continue to persevere
Yes.
through all the obstacles, and most importantly, just surround yourself around the right fellowship, because that's important. They're the ones that'll keep you accountable. They'll hold you up, and they'll love up on you and just tell you to keep on going.
Yes, yes. All right. So you know what? Because we keep getting viewers in, I am going to give y'all till 10 o'clock to get this video shared
But
and to come back and
they
say
coming,
shared.
ain't they?
So yes, yes. So you have to let us know. That's like, come back to the main video this one and comments shared that you have shared his story. And then you have a chance at either a free writer's class or two of my books because his story needs to be heard. Mr. Whitfield, I really am praying and believing you're going to contact me about being a guest on the show, right? Yeah.
Uncle Whitfield.
Yes. And shout out to Dr. V for bringing many of us together. And that's how we met is through the use of
I'm
my
telling you.
buckets course. So if you ever get an opportunity to get to know her, and her Facebook lives come on what time usually? Like 7:30?
7:30, sometimes 7:45, depending
Yeah.
on what's going on. You know, about 7 o'clock.
Start stalking.
No, it's
Sorry about
okay.
that. So yeah, we did we love y'all so much. Thank you for joining us. Again, you have till 10 o'clock to get this shared and to chime back in that you did share it, and you'll be entered in the raffle. All right. Have
Yeah.
an awesome, awesome night. Keep us posted. Okay.
All right, Royal Hand, the
All
Royal
right.
Hand Raiser. I'll see you later.
Yes. I will never live that down.
Oh, never.
All right. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
All right, see you
Terrence.
later. Bye.
All
Bye.
right.